The generic IEquatableT interface exists to solve a slightly different problem with equals. Objects equals method takes an object as a parameter. This is of course the only type of parameter that's possible if you want object.equals to work for all types. But object is a reference type, and that means that if you want to pass any value type as an argument, the value type will end up getting boxed, which will give a performance hit. That's bad because typically one of the main reasons for defining something as a value type rather than a reference type is precisely for performance, which probably means you're getting this performance hit right when you most want to avoid it. There's also another issue. Having an object as an argument means there's no type safety. For example, if I have a food instance, there's nothing to stop me from doing this. I instantiate a Windows Forms button instance and use equals to compare that with the food instance to see if they're equal. That's clearly absurd, since these are totally different types. There's no way they can meaningfully equal each other. Oh okay, yes I know you can buy chocolate buttons, but this is programming and that's the wrong type of button. Seriously, you shouldn't be doing this kind of comparison. And obviously it would be nice if the compiler could pick up this kind of situation, but because objects.equals has no strong typing, it can't. We can completely solve the boxing issue, and mostly solve the type safety issue at a stroke, by having an equals method that takes the type being compared as a parameter. Thus, for example, you could have a method on string called equals that takes a string as a parameter, and you could have a method on food called equals that takes a food as a parameter. That solves those two problems nicely, although with a bit of a qualification that, as I mentioned in the previous module, it turns out it's hard to make that work properly with inheritance. However, there's no way to usefully define these strongly typed methods on system.object, because system.object doesn't know what types you'll derive from it. So how can you make a strongly typed equals method generally available to consume? Microsoft solved this problem by providing the interface IEquatableT, which can be exposed by any type that wants to provide a strongly typed equals. If we look at the documentation, we can see that IEquatableT exposes just one method called equals, which returns a boolean. This serves exactly the same purpose as object.equals, but it takes the t instance as a parameter, and is therefore strongly typed. And for value types, that means no boxing.